There has been recent turmoil at one of the oldest educational institutions in the United States, Dartmouth College. With the deposition of the former president of this place of learning, the New Hampshire legislature is attempting to make this private establishment a public university, which would give the power of appointing trustees to the governor. Now, the Board of Trustees is filing suit against laws passed by the legislature, claiming that these laws are unconstitutional. We had the opportunity to sit down with some of the students and professors of Dartmouth College, and were given exclusive interviews with arguing sides and the residing Chief Justice John Marshall to get their opinions on the issue. Now, America, you can be the judge. First, we talked to the people most affected by the dispute, the students. Give me your honest opinion on the matter.
I feel that as law students, we have some of the greatest insight into the case. We are very frustrated, frankly speaking. The supposed Dartmouth University is taking over the land that was granted to the college.
I mean, our rights are being infringed upon. We pay our tuition to go to the private college on the land prescribed to us as students, not some public university. The name Dartmouth is associated with prestige, and we feel as though our honor is being stripped from us.
I agree wholeheartedly. The trustees have a right to keep their positions.
Next, we discussed the matter with one of the teachers at Dartmouth College. Should a charter put in place by King George III be upheld in present-day United States?
Even though we are no longer under the rule of Great Britain, I believe the contract clause as stated in Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution gives us the right to the land. I believe that this will be the prosecution's main argument if they can pull it off successfully.
We then interviewed some Board of Trustees members for Dartmouth College. And how do you feel, Mr. Alexander?
I see why the government may desire to interfere. However, I am wary of this. Why change such a great educational institution? We have been under charter since 1769, and violation of the charter would be unconstitutional. Although we have seceded from Great Britain, I believe the charter would still stand, and that Dartmouth should run privately.
How do you feel about the government interfering in the affairs at Dartmouth?
We have kept Dartmouth College running on the side despite government interference. It has remained private, although Dartmouth University is now public and operating at our former location.
We will now display footage from the actual trial.
All rise for the Supreme Court's Chief Justice, the Honorable John Marshall.
You may be seated. Okay, we have the defending Dartmouth College represented by Daniel Webster and the state of New Hampshire by Woodward. The dilemma seems to be that the state of New Hampshire's legislature does not agree that Dartmouth College should stay private, which was put in place by the former King George III. Is this correct, Mr. Woodward?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, then explain your side, please.
Yes, sir. Well, the state of New Hampshire believes that the charter is void because we are no longer under the rule of the British. This in which implies that the college should be open to everyone because the King George is no longer our king. Wouldn't you believe anything that was set in his ruling should have been resulted in null or void after the revolution?
Yes, that seems to be a pretty valid point. Would the defending side like to begin pleading their side of the case?
Yes, Your Honor. Although it may be obvious that because we are not under British rule anymore that the contract would be nullified, however, as a Dartmouth alumni, I have to disagree with this. This takes part in the case which is sure over to win. In the Constitution, it clearly states under Article 1, Section 10, Paragraph 1, that contracts created before the Constitution shall stay valid and that no state legislature can make any opposing laws towards this contract. So even though we are no longer under the rule of the king, the contract is still constitutional. And what New Hampshire is trying to do is unconstitutional.
The jury has reached a verdict. The opinion of the court after serious deliberation is that this is a contract, the obligation of which cannot be impaired without violating the Constitution of the United States. After the Revolution, the Constitution of the United States imposed this additional limitation that the legislative of the state shall pass no law impairing the obligation of contract. It results from this opinion that the act of the legislative of New Hampshire are repugnant to the Constitution of the United States. Because New Hampshire's law is proven to be unconstitutional, the charter stays.
We now have Mr. Webster here to speak on his opinion of the end result. How do you feel about how the case turned out?
Well, I expected from the beginning that it would run in favor of those hoping to keep the college the way it has always been. I'll tell you exactly what I said during the case. It is, sir, as I have said, a small college, and yet there are those who love it. This case shall now be a reference for future states issuing towards creating unconstitutional laws so that we may live by the Constitution and continue to preserve our rights.
Wow, what a case. Some say that Webster's speech was so powerful that Marshall quietly wept, so touched by this impactful argument. Just to recap, the decision was finalized on February 2nd, 1819. The verdict sided with Dartmouth College with a vote of 6-1, granting it the right to remain a private institution. Therefore, the government couldn't meddle in the affairs at Dartmouth College. This led to the legal provision in the U.S. Constitution of Article 1, Section 10. It has strengthened the contract clause, which protects contracts from outside, specifically state, impact, and restricted the ability of state governments to affect private institutions, their charters, and even has helped protect private businesses from the power of the state. Today, Dartmouth College is a flourishing private educational institution. Thank you for watching another episode. I'm your interviewer, and see you next time on another episode of 60 Minutes.